Hey everyone, in this short video I want to introduce you to the core components of Medusa and give you a short description and a use case when to use it. So the first one is API routes. An API route is a REST endpoint. It exposes the commerce feature to external applications such as Storefront or Admin Dashboards, or for example third-party system like Stripe webhooks. And Medusa already has some admin and store API routes out of the box, and you can actually use them. And so the use case of API routes is when you want to expose custom functionality to be used by Storefront, the admin dashboard, or some external applications. The second one is dependency injection. So the Medusa container, dependency injection container, holds all the resources registered in the applications, such as, for example, services or repositories or entities. And in your customization, you can use the container to resolve these resources and use like functionalities in them, like logger. And the use case of it is actually when you want to access and use services like products, customer services, order services across different parts of your application. The next one is entity. Entities in Medusa are classes that correspond to tables in the database. For example, the order entity or product entity or product variant. And the use case of entities is when you want to define a new table in the database and, for example, also establish a relationship between tables like orders, products, or, for example, customers. The next one is repository. Repository is a layer that handles direct access to the database. It abstracts away the details of interacting with the database, like creating a query to the database via an ORM. In the Medusa use case, we use type ORM, and provides a structured way to perform CRUD operations like read, update, delete, and create on the specific entities. And the use case of it when you want to keep data access logic separate from business logic, making the code base cleaner. And the second one is when you want to reuse database queries like reading and updating. So you should not do this over and over again. And for example, repositories already have built-in methods out of the box like list, retrieve, and like multiple filters and others. And also you should use a repository to interact with entities and work with the underlying database entities while abstracting away the complexities. The services in Medusa are a collection of helper methods designed for you through your commerce application. And typically they represent a specific entity or functionality within Medusa. For example, the product service or order service or cart service that, for example, has a method to calculate the cart total. And the use case of it when you want to keep the business logic separated from your controllers, of course, it makes the code look cleaner. And also the centralized logic that needs to be reused across different parts of your application. For example, you can use service not only in the API routes, but for example, also in the subscribers. The next one is loaders. A loader is a script that runs when the Medusa backend starts. And the Medusa backend uses loaders to initialize, for example, the database connection, load plugins from Medusa config, and also it registers the resources in the dependency container. And the use case of it is when you want to allow to run some custom logic when Medusa initializes, such as, for example, adding a default data or setting up configurations. Subscribers. Subscribers are used in Medusa to inform different parts of the e-commerce ecosystem that this event occurred. For example, when the order is placed, the order placed event is triggered, which inform, for example, notification services like SendGrid to send emails. And the use case of it is when you want to trigger actions when specific events occur in the system, like sending an email or creating some kind of notification. And also when you want to decouple logic, and subscribers allow you to handle event-based actions separately from the call logic. And don't use the subscriber when you want to, for example, create a validation logic in services, because subscribers are asynchronous and they run apart from the services.